We're going to slip into some S-gauge repair this week. I've got this fantastic set that just showed up. Well, it showed up about a month and a half ago from Greg Uwanit. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. He reached out to me via email and says, hey, do you accept donations of 3/16 scale? And I say, well, yeah, I do, but I'd rather that you kept it. Maybe I could talk you into joining the model railroading community. Well, he was adamant that he didn't want to play model railroad. So I said, well, send it here and we'll whoop it into shape. Let me show you what this thing looks like. It's got the old 312 locomotive. This is a 4-piece set right here. Then it seems to have extra cars going to it. This set did include the log loader. And if you look at it, it's got the rust on it. It's got mold or something growing in there somehow. And it's also got a couple stations here. And the interesting thing about most of them look like this on the inside, which is just nothing. But this one here, when I cracked it open, there's something down inside there. That's one of them there fancy talking stations. So what I decided I wanted to do is I want to restore this whole set, make it beautiful. Heck, I think I might even make a traveling layout out of the thing to go with the HO gauge so we can get out into the community and promote the model railroading hobby. I know this will stay on the track a lot better. Oh. Talking station though, that's something I've never seen. And this week's episode, I want to go into repairing this talking station. It's got the record and everything in it, plus I've got a surprise if I can't get that thing to work. I'm Ron with Classic Model Trains. Hang out with me. Let's see what it's going to take to start working on this beautiful S-gauge train set right here. We're going to have to try to dig up a schematic on how this thing's wired up. Boy, it's got a lot going on here. Lots. Goodness gracious. Oh, sure. And they did everything right by riveting this player in. You rotten. I guess I got to work on it when it's in there. Looks like I can get cute and I can bend all these tabs up and then I could take the take the building out. These are going to be a hassle. They twisted the heck out of those. I kind of want to clean it up anyway, so this is fine. You see, to bend up fairly easy. The ones on the ends, they decided to they give them a quarter twist. They quarter twisted them a lot. Is this going to be easy or is it going to be hard? So far, yes. Okay. Keep coming. Sure. The door seems to be holding us up here. Okay, get the soldering iron warmed up so we can take this off that bulb right there, but at least the guy can really get in there and work on it now. I took off excessive amounts. I wanted to take the docks off. It's like I don't really need to take the dock off. Yeah, it's gonna make cleaning that up a lot easier. These windows, they all seem to be falling out. And this door, it's like a nail. It's got a nail head down under here and it won't come out of the hole. But I'll bet you that they put the pin in, put the door on, and then they bent it over so we can straighten all this out, get that door out of there, get that pin out of there. Now we've really got something. What is this white wire doing? It's almost like something extra has been added in there. I'm going to dig up online and get some schematics here to figure out how to wire it up. We got to clean this thing. This was here, local Dave was over here, and we were testing stuff out. And I found this rust dissolver, Naval Jelly. And you would not believe what it can do. I did that right there a little bit. You put this on and you give it just a tiny little bit of time and it'll pull that rust out of there. I'm doing this real time, no edits or cuts through here. That's doable. It's better, that's for sure. How's it gonna work on this gray? And you're supposed to let it sit for like 5 minutes. I'm just kind of doing a fast one here. Damp cloth to wipe it off. They say don't put this on your finger. Oh yeah. This is going to clean up amazing. So I think I'm going to work on cleaning it before we do anything. And I'll look up a schematic. And then I'll come back and I'll share all this with you. Found these directions online right here of how to wire it up. And I've got this sweet thing that I built over here. So I've got AC coming out of my test ports, wired in to where it says I got to wire it in at. And the wires are actually already all twisted together. So I just, pretty much figured out that's where the two of them go at. And then the motor started to run. So we probably better get in here and give it a little lubricate with some super lube. There's one bushing right up in here I can see on the motor. Luckily enough, it was pretty quiet. There's another one back here. And this gear right here, I see there's a bushing right underneath of it down in here. And there's one down at the bottom just going through the aluminum. And then this one's got a couple little bushing bearing areas going on right there. And when I push this button, things happen. It's timed for some reason with these contacts, which I don't know what's going on. And this red wire here is loose. These are fiber gears right here. And best I can tell, fiber gears don't really need lubrication. Should we do it anyway? I don't know. What's a guy to do? This here's timing something for sure. Oh, this is brass. Oh, well, we need to clean that up. I thought it was just some sort of cardboard or something like that, but it is conducting the juices. I got one of these tactical Q-tips out here. This is a conductive metal right here. That is interesting. Oh, now I got scuba all over the place. Using a little odorless mineral spirits on it. Try to get all this ick off. It's not doing a very good job. The center cam right here. This white wire goes to the track, and from the way it's wired up, this will go into an isolated track section, and then this will provide the power for the locomotive, so it'll show up, stop, and then it'll play comments and things, and then as this is still running, this is just a timing device right here, and then after about a time, it will let the locomotive go through. Oh, I just changed that. It's got some pits on it for sure. I gotta keep holding down this button here to keep it going. Of course, when I got this, the record was in it, and I looked at it and it was bowed, and I'm not used to really old, brittle records, and I tried to give it a little straighten out, and snap! I read on the Google machine that I could glue this, and I'm gonna try to take some CA and see if I can, I know it's not gonna sound that good, but I wanna see at least what it does. How's it work? What's it sound like? This is an original here, so I'm gonna try to glue this, and I do have all the other parts for it. This would be, what do they call this thing here? They call this the reproducer. Here's a bunch of old windows that were in it that were falling out because they're old. The adhesive's let loose. They call this the turntable. And then these other parts here, here's the needle. This stuff all works to hold it on in there. So let me see here, what's this do? The needle goes in there. Boy, I wonder how it stays in. Oh, from this little nut right here. So you can adjust that up and down. Interesting. Looks like I'm missing the horn for it. Bet you I can make one out of some paper, roll it up on there. So it would look like this right there. What does this thing do? Does this lift the... Does that actually lift the thing off the record? You're kidding me. I was wondering what this lever right here did. It sure does. It just lifted the needle up off the record. Holy moly. Wow. I'm excited about this. Let me see if I can glue this. Get my magnifiers out and whoop it into shape. This turntable's got some rust in it right here. I'm just gonna take a wire brush. You gotta get that cleaned up some. I'm not sure, but this might be maybe a little naval jelly on it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this thing might be a survivor. It's been around for a long time, and it's not in that bad a shape. I want to do everything I can to try to save her up. We'll give this a few minutes and see what we can do. Well, after I was messing with this to clean it up, and now it just flops in the wind, and I got to figure out why. So I'm going to take this end off right here. How about you just stop? So I can take this drum apart and see what's going on inside. Want to know how it works. 1/4 inch, little nut, little lock washer. Sure. Is this working? No. Will it come out the bottom? Just that much. That little tiny bit is what's holding it in. You rotten, rotten bugger. I was able to take this small screwdriver and put it in there and get this tin to bend down enough to get this little tiny machine bolt out. So I can get the bracket out, so I can get the drum out. See, these are all insulated. Since there's juice flowing through them, they've got to be insulated from each other and they got to be insulated from the ground. So this would be a fiber hub that was inside this one, and apparently over time it just let loose. I thought there might be a pin or something in there, but I see that I just time it where it's a little bit ahead of this cam lobe right there. So I'm just going to CA glue it. CA seems to work pretty well. Time it up in there, and I'm going to reassemble all this, and I'll probably clean up these fingers since it's out. I can come through here with the fiberglass pencil and really shine on these guys so the juice will flow very well. That's what I'm holding out for. Here's our record. I got it drying over here. This section over here, I put glue in it, put the two things together. I don't know. I'm just gonna take a guess. This thing is brittle. It's like a 78 record. It's like you could slam it down on something and it would break like peanut brittle, is the feeling that it gives off to me. But let's just see what it's gonna do. Just because we've came this far. I got out the old wispy wheels like this so I could really polish this up and get her back where it's supposed to be. So I'm liking it now. Make sure you keep your fiber washers on everything. This cam goes under here. This guy is gonna go in here. Let me see if I can get this all straightened out. I deformed it just some, manhandling it. Now the real key is to get this little machine bolt down in here. Yes? That's the one I was looking for right there. Lock nut. When I put that CA on that drum, and I slid that on, I went to twist it, and it set up so fast. It was off the chart. I also used this guy and cleaned up the contact point of these fingers. When this was opened up, I believe that we're going to have, it's going to do what it's supposed to do now. That's what I'm hoping for. So when I push the button, it should make one complete revolution. Let's put a line right here. This is the top. I'm going to put it right there. Push the button. Got to hold it down for a little bit so it gets past its cam that turns it off. I don't know why it's got those dead spots in it like that though. Here comes the contact for the locomotive to drive off, I believe. Well, that's what I expected it to do. Time to put the record in and see if we get anything. So according to this right here, we're going to put the record. We're going to put the turntable. We're going to put this little washer, then a lock nut, and then the nut. Get my 1/4-inch wrench, just a snuggin'. Let me see if I can make an amplifier horn for that just real fast. There's quite a few talking stations that were presented out there that were available, that were offered to the public back in the day, the good old days. I did a little research on them. I wanted to show those. I also want to scroll past our channel members right now. I realize that this channel is kind of funded like the public broadcasting system, except for the fact that you're not forced to pay for it through taxes. There's other people out there that are helping support this channel, and they do it through our memberships here. So they're important to me, and that's why I always like to put these in the video at a predominant time of the video to showcase these people that are helping with the channel. I appreciate it very, very much. Getting on to these stations here. The pre-war era from 1938 to 1941, American Flyer offered this version of the talking station. It was a number 597, and they called it an Acoustikin passenger and freight station, and it was done up in a yellow and brown paint scheme. The post-war years, they brought the same station back with some updates, mostly to the way that the record player and everything worked in it. They numbered it the 755. These were produced from 1948 through 1950 in 5 variations. The first variation had the green roof and an accessory decal on the base, and it uses a decal for the mystic signs on the roof. Second variation's got a blue roof, no accessory decal on the base, but it does have the decal for the mystic signs on the roof. Third variation, all I could find out is that it was a pale green roof. And I really couldn't find any pictures of different colored roofs from the green or the pale green. And I guess it was like the first variation mostly. I don't know. I didn't find no huge differences. The fourth variation's got a green roof, but now they've changed the lettering on the mystic sign to a white serif. And it has the accessory decal on the base. And then the fifth and final version of the 755, it's got the blue roof with the white serif lettering of Mystic on the roof signs and the accessory decal on the base. To me, they should just have basically 2 variations. The green roof one and the blue roof one, and whether it's got a sticker on it or not. Oh my goodness. Okay. Then they really changed her up here with the $7.99. Comes in different variations here, but the variation that we're going to make reference to would be the talking station. These were available from 1954 through 1957, and apparently you can take the tower section, like the front doors, and you can either put it on the end of the building or on the side of the building like this, so that way it'll fit your layouts better if you've got a long street or a narrow street for this thing to live on. Now that's thinking right there. I like that. And then this little beauty right here, produced from 1957 through 1959, it's the number 23786, and it's all completely made out of plastic, but it uses the same record player mechanism inside of it. But I did notice that the reproducer looks more like a speaker. I think it's got an updated sound. It'd have to, compared to whatever's in this tinny sounding thing that I've got going on here. And then, you know, the Lionel bought out American Flyer sometime in the past there. They call it Lionel. They use the same station. This picture was apparently from the 2004 catalog, and I seen them out there in the 2009 catalog, but that's the one that they're offering. Apparently there was 8 different records that were available with this one here, but somehow these records are broken out. The 598 talking station record, it's got the diesel locomotive sound, and it was from 46 to 56. And then the 599, which is similar in size and shape and everything to the 598, but they're saying that this is the rarest of all the record recordings or record pressings that are out there. This one has the dispatcher giving instructions for train to make up with the background sounds, bells, whistles, and stuff on the one side, and on the other side it includes conversation between the yard tower and the conductor about a freight hotbox problem. I love it. Now I just hope somebody out there's got these things digitized. Now, American Flyer didn't have the corner marketed on talking stations. There's a company out there called Noma that was making Christmas tree lights, and for some reason they decided to dive in to talking stations for Lionel, O-gauge, and also they'd work on the S-gauge just because the size was kind of halfway in between. These were made in the 1950s. These mechanisms were powered with 2D batteries on them. Push down to the top of the station top, and then that would activate the record player thing, and it would start to do what it does. It came in 2 variations. Looks like the red one here and the green one. Although the stations look identical, except for the colors, the mechanisms inside of them were a little different. So there must be the early production and the later production one. Now, as much as I dug around, I could not find anything that Lionel made back in the pre or post-war days for talking stations. They had stations that made bells or whistles and this and that. But Lionel didn't have an entry in this, or the internet's just lying to me because that's happened before in the past. But Marx, of all people, come out with a talking station as well. It played a record. This one was called the Glendale station, and it's the largest tinplate passenger train stations Marx produced. Now, they did make a larger tinplate station, but it was a freight station, not passenger station. Apparently these came in 3 variants. There was the bare station, didn't do anything. One was lit, and then one did play the record, and they kept it nice and simple. Leave it to Marx. They put a crank up on the roof, sticking out like this here to turn the record. Oh, I gotta love Marx. They made it just something for the poor kids, you know. They're just a genius. I love it. I love it very much. Now that we got the video stopped, this is an excellent time to do Classic Model Train's Classic Model of the Week. Do you guys know who this is? If you do, put it in the comments down below. If you don't, hang out to the end, I'll let you know who it is. Let's get back into this video. Scrap piece of paper I just cut off about this wide, wrapped it around my finger. Ow, that's sharp. That don't quite fit, but this isn't straight. If I cut off too much, then I get to start again. Now there's tinners out there that could just make this flat and then wrap it up and then it'd just be perfect. Yes, let's clean up this end on it. Sure, it's probably a little long. In fact, I know it is. What might we get here? Let's see if it picks it up. It's at the inside of the record right now. I think once it picks it up, this thing is going to swing back, and that'll put the needle at the beginning of the record. There it is. So now we start again. Okay. This is keeping this thing from swinging back all the way. I got to cut another this much off of this horn. It's an interesting learning experience. And I wonder do I know how deep to set the needle? Oh, I guess you just put it in until it stops. So we'll try that out. And we'll go again. It's worse than I thought. And it's gonna turn off. I forgot I warmed up my gun here so I could fix this wire here. It's loose. Got cold soldered. That's working much better. I just flipped the record over, see if maybe the other side might work a little better. And it should have a different announcement, I think. Well, and some of you guys might be out there going, what's that guy doing trying to glue a record back together? So I could make it to play. I wanted to hear what it sounded like just to get the effect. If that chunk was missing, it would have never made a single sound at all. Yeah, it skipped and it did a bunch of stuff, but I did hear the voice on it. I knew what it was, expected to do. So that made it kind of interesting. But it ain't perfect, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna update it with an electronic unit, a sound unit. Let's get into that. I'll tell you what's going on with that. There's a fella on eBay, and he makes reproduction, electronic, digitally restored things. This thing right here, to make all talking stations talk again. The Somas, the American Flyers, the Lionels, he's got them all. I ordered in one of these kits. I pulled it out of this little bag here just a little bit ago. Read the instructions. And this is what we get. It's self-powered. It's got all its stuff. Here's a switch right here. Turn it on. This is the battery. This is the board. This board's also got a USB plug on it. USB-C here. You can put different sound files in this thing. Very, very interesting. I read through the instructions. It doesn't hook in to the mechanics like this one. This one here is set up with this cam right here that it will have the locomotive stop and wait, and it'll play the thing, and then the locomotive will start again, all without any input. This one doesn't. Take a little listen to this. Yep, there it is right there. They say you got to make a baffle for this to try to get it a little louder and mount it solidly on something. So I've decided what I'm going to do with it is it's going to be in the station right here. We'll have to lengthen these wires some. I built this little cone to go over the top of it. Let's just see if just doing this right here, this is just a paper towel holder cut down some. We're going to get more out of it. That's what you call 65% total harmonic distortion. Goodness gracious. It's got a little 8 ohm speaker on the bottom of it. And it just sounds like it's being overdriven. I think I got an old sugar cube laying around here somewhere. It's not an old one, it's a brand new one waiting for a project, but that might be an idea. Throw that in there and see if it's got something more to it. It's just not very pretty at all. I'm gonna work on cleaning up this building. Show what I'm gonna do to it. The inside of these windows here, they taped it in with something. And of course the tape let go a long time ago. This stuff right here is a very good solvent for getting rid of that icky tape residue. I just concentrated some in this cup right here with a tactical Q-tip. And I'm gonna give it the old soak it down. And this takes 10-15 minutes to get that old hardened adhesive, I guess it'd be called, off of there. It's got bumps and stuff. We got to get them bumps off. See if I can work on the sidewall here also, because it needs some love. I'm going to take this cupola out right here, bend these up, because I need to get them soaking too. So we're putting new windows in this thing. There's fellers out there on the eBay that sell reproduction window kits for these. So I'll be slipping these in. I ordered up enough sets because I got 2 of them, you know. I'll put those in here after I get these all cleaned up and dry. I've had one of these things in my mechanic's toolbox for years. I don't know what they are, what they're called. Like I stole them from a body guy, or a body guy gave me his used one, something like that. Maybe put in windshield gaskets, but you take the grinder and you file this down, And it makes a really nice, like instead of scratching it off with your thumbnail, you got one of these. It's plastic, so it doesn't scratch stuff. And you can get in here and scrape off the residue that are on these things. Come here, get rid of all of this. So I'm doing this to all the windows, scraping off all the stuff so we can put new windows in it. Sure, it's getting better, trust me. Boot brush here, the old boot brush trick brings this painted metal back around like you just can't believe. Gets the thumbprints and stuff off of it. Oh man. This building here, I've been working on it while I was transferring videos into the computer. It takes a while. But you get some of this stuff here, and it'll just... This is dull because that's where the dock is at. Yeah. This side here I haven't touched yet. And it's just kind of a flat. Just like when you're shining up boots. Like you can just see it get better. Loving it. Some of this here ceramic detailer here for your car. For this painted metal, it's quite the deal here. Spray it on, wipe it off with a microfiber towel, and that's it, it's done. It's just like, wow. I've been doing this for 6 months or something now, and boy, oh boy, does it make a difference. Protected for the next 80 years. So here's our window kits right here. They're translucent, but they're not transparent, which is unfortunate. What are these even gonna look like? Is this gonna go right in here? Sure, that's not bad. But what am I gonna use to put it in? Makes me wonder if this stuff will CA work on it. Some plastics, the CA won't melt. Other plastics, it does. I'm gonna test it, just see, because if it will, I can glue these things in. Then they'll be there for almost forever. Better than putting tape on them, I'm guessing. Here's my test strip. Something unobtrusive. Give this just a little test just to see what's gonna happen while I cut up these windows. The little glue strip I put in there, the glue didn't affect it. It doesn't melt. So we're gonna have to tape them in, unfortunately, after I got done waxing it. And then this is what happens. Yes. So I'm gonna put the windows in with tape. I got this fancy stuff here. This is now sold as heat transfer tape for when you're making mugs, doing sublimation. And it's that yellow stuff that sticks really good. You guys have a different name for it from back in the day. I'm probably gonna use that since the windows are translucent. I don't think the tape is going to show up that much through it. And this is gonna take some time to do. I'll be back when it's done. That really came out nicely. Oh, yeah. Here you can see the yellow tape stuff, holding them in there all the way around. Everything's been waxed up. I'm gonna work on getting it on this, back on this, since we got the majority of our primary work completed. That went in there like butter. I think I'm gonna quarter turn the tabs. The quarter turn seems to make them nice and tight. Makes them easier to get off too if you decide to get back in there. But you can only do this a few times. Then that metal's gonna be so fatigued from being bent that it ain't gonna hold anymore. So this was made in what, 47, I think, 48. I think it should be good for a little while longer. So just me, or have I just never noticed that? I didn't just do that, did I? God, I hope not. Holy moly. This is the sugar cube that I used from SoundTraxx, the 8101 from this one here. Little guy. He's sitting right down inside right there. I had to extend the wires to it, put the board there, put the battery up on the side. Then I made this little baffle here. I cut it to kind of go over the top of the board. So it'll sit like that. And then I plan to use a little bit of this tape here to hold the baffle. And when you put the roof on, this is what she will sound like. Push this little button that's hanging out.
All aboard! American flyers, real train New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and all points west.
So that is quite a bit louder for sure. Now I went ahead and I ordered up a record. I found one on the eBay and I just felt like I needed it because they're neat. So and that thing's really good for ghost hunting with, because it'll just trigger just kind of whenever it wants to. Scare the bejesus cutty out of you. Now I want to hook it up into the track. I'll have to push both the buttons at the same time to see how the pause section works. Now I got to do a little creativeness here and set up a small test track. Well, it is the next day now. I've got this thing operating and I've got it wired up exactly how it's supposed to be now. them initial ways that it was wired up was just kind of the not very good way. Now it's fully functional like it's supposed to be. Let me show you what it looks like, then I'll show you the schematic, then I'll show you how it works. The test station is working flawlessly as I wanted it to, but as you can see there's just wires going everywhere on this thing. Here's the station, light bulb is on, because that's the way it's supposed to be, or there'd be a switch for it. And just everything going on. I got a beautiful test track up there, but I got to bring it down here so I got room for the station to be in here. Let's take a look at the schematic on it. So it looks like there's a lot going on. AC transformers, they've got a variable output and they've got a fixed voltage output. And then there's a common in between there. So this is going to use all three of them posts. The yellow wire, which is going in, that's the 14 volt AC in. And then the black wire that's on it is going to the common. In the variable voltage, we've got the track wired up down here. These are track clip-ons right here, positive, with the common being in the black, and the variable voltage being the red. And the reason that there's two of them on the gap from the station is because this part of the track right here, it has to be isolated. And then it's got a separate voltage point to it right here. And it's important that this white wire that comes out of the station is on the same side of the track as the red wire, or you're going to have some problems. Because what's going to happen is the train's going to come in and the station is controlling this isolated portion of the track, so the locomotive will stop and it'll sit here while the announcement takes place, and then the station turns the power back on and then the locomotive takes off. To trip the motor inside the station, it uses this green wire that comes out of it. And the green wire and that momentary switch that's normally open, it just goes to the common, is where it picks it up at, and that gets the whole motion going. So that's the wiring schematic after I figured out how it's all wired up. That's my best way to explain how it is doing what it's supposed to do. So we're currently, the AC throttle, it's all the way down. There's nothing's moving. And I can take this green wire here, but I put it to common, and that will trigger this thing to do its thing inside there. And if it was a talker, then the record would be playing and all that other stuff right now. And I figured out that when you put this to the common rail, I'm just doing it here instead of doing it with a switch all over there. I could have this wired in so it looks simple, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing is I'm just making a quick connection. It takes 3 seconds for this thing to run on its own. Because as you see, you hold the button down, so I connect it, 1, 2, 3, and then that thing starts running, doing what it's supposed to do. So the locomotive's got to be locked out into forward in order to get this thing to run. 3 seconds for all this to take place. So I'm going to kick this in, 1, 2, 3. It stops. Oh! Never get it shut down fast enough. Slam it into the wall. And that's why I want to get the record, so that way everything's timed up. But boy, you gotta hit that when that locomotive's about over here running, because these things don't just creep like HO things do. So that way when it hits the isolated track section, which is in between these two Q-tips right here, that's our honey hole right there to get this to stop. Oh, what did we had? Sometimes that thing will trigger just from the vibration that's taking place inside there. Give it 1, 2, 3. It's in the isolated section. Off it goes again. The wheels are a little on the dirty side there. We got this lovely station here all whooped into shape, making beautiful sounds. Here in a week, I suppose that record will be here. I want to finish doing this whole set over here. I want to get the log loader up and running, make a video on cleaning up these cars. Some of them are hammered. They're filthy. A couple neat little tricks on those. And I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get it all in one episode. This one here went really long, especially the history on these things. Geez, I typed up that script and I thought, this will take like 2 minutes to get through. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm having a little fun with the classic model of the week. That's Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So thank you guys for hanging out with me till the end. All the 33%ers, thank you for all your support out there. I'm Ron with Classic Model Trains. Talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.